Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on mega trends in business collaboration for 2012. My name is Michael McIver. I am the Vice President of Sales at HyperOffice. HyperOffice is a pioneer of business collaboration. And with me today is Laurie McCabe with the SMB Group. Laurie brings more than 20 years experience in the IT industry, and her expertise in market, channel, and competitive analysis helps vendors and clients capitalize on shifting market trends. And today we're going to talk about some of those trends in business collaboration. Before we begin today, and as I see people are still joining in, we want to let everybody know that number one, we're going to be sending out some polls throughout the webinar, and that we do want to keep this interactive. So we welcome questions. We're going to ask that when you have a question, if you use the Q&A function within the webinar, and then either Laurie or myself will answer them. And one of the things I'd like to start off with today is simply a poll that we're going to shoot out in just a moment. And if everyone would just like to take the time and pick their answer, we're going to view the results as well. Okay, excellent. We have believers. Very good, very good. I'm a believer myself. All right, so to kick this off, let's talk about some of the trends that we found in some of the studies and in 2011, and see what we have coming up for 2012.
Hey, thanks,
Laurie, would you
Mike. Yeah,
No
this
problem.
is Laurie McCabe from the SMB Group, and I just want to say thanks to you, Mike, and to everybody joining us today. And yeah, we can move right to the first slide to kick things off here. And you know, I don't know about you, but when I think about collaboration, I think about it being the one thing that probably is the only activity that everyone in your company or my company or any company engages in every day. So, you know, whether you're the CEO or you're a new hire or you're a construction worker or an accountant, you know, everybody's got to share and manage information and ideas and resources and people and connections to get their jobs done. And I think until recently, in a lot of businesses, we could get by with just a few tools, you know, maybe email, calendar, contact management, and of course, you know, the good old standard telephone. But the pace of business has really been accelerating, and I think more and more we need to operate in and connect with people, more different kinds of people in different places, in different business networks. And, you know, on top of that, I think people's expectations are changing too. In our personal lives, you know, more of us are using social networks like LinkedIn and Facebook, and the range of new cloud collaboration and social media solutions is really growing. So, you know, whether as, you know, personal, in our personal lives or as employees or as customers, we all really increasingly, I think, expect that we can connect and collaborate with people in different ways, you know, how we want, when we want, and on different devices. So a lot of businesses, you know, small and medium businesses especially, I mean, large businesses have often had a lot of these collaboration tools for a long time. But SMBs are really, you know, recognizing they need to really kind of beef up the way they collaborate so they can do a better job of, you know, sharing knowledge in their companies and streamlining workflows. And, you know, at the bottom line is just getting everybody on the same page. So looking at the next slide, I think all of these different things I mentioned are really fueling growth in and reliance on collaboration solutions. We just did a very big study on collaboration and adoption in SMBs. I think we surveyed around 700 small and medium businesses, and we found 56% of the companies rely moderately to heavily on collaboration software to get their work done. And, I think over time we're only going to see this reliance increase because of, a few key things. First, we've got an information explosion out there. The amount of digital information every day in the world is growing by leaps and bounds. And I heard a new word, a few months ago called a zettabyte. Well, a zettabyte is a 1 with, I think, 21 zeros after it. And we're now up to and have surpassed storing a zettabyte of information. And it's just going to keep growing. So there's more information we all kind of have to get our arms around. And, in addition to that, the world is definitely getting flatter. Everybody's expecting, with all the new devices and things like that out there, people are expecting almost instant connectivity and instant ability to share information. And, of course, that dovetails right into the whole mobile world. And, other things happening that I think are going to make collaboration more and more important are things like we all need to kind of always be refreshing our skills. We're changing jobs more often. We need to learn new skills on the job. So all of that, I think, just ratchets up the need for effective communication. So as you can see, no surprise that people that do forecasts like AMI and Gartner on here are all expecting this market for collaboration software, and especially cloud collaboration software, to really grow.
Absolutely.
But that said, pardon me?
No, I was just going to agree. It's been increasing at an increasing rate, but I've been talking with customers for over a decade, and the conversation's changed from, this is something that's very important to now they can't do without this. They can't operate without the collaboration.
Yeah, I think we see that, and we definitely hear that too. And the tricky part, though, is, I think figuring out, well, what's going to really work best for my business. There's tons of collaboration software and tools out there, from point solutions for, something like document management or web conferencing to integrated collaboration suites. There's social media kinds of solutions. So, it's kind of where do you start and how can you think about, improving collaboration in your company. So I think, as you can see on the next slide, a good place to start is by first looking at your collaboration culture in your company. Today most of our webcast is going to focus on solutions and tools, but we found out some really interesting things in this study that we did, and the biggest aha here in terms of this cultural collaboration is really that companies that have a more progressive collaboration culture, and we measured this by asking people, do you recognize and reward employees more often for team contributions and achievements or for individual ones? And what we found is that the companies that tend to reward team achievements more than individual ones, they have higher revenue expectations, they're more likely to be satisfied that they're meeting their business goals, and they're getting more value out of the collaboration solutions they use. And I think none of this is really, when you think about it, I guess it is kind of intuitive, because these collaboration tools help everybody share ideas. So the organization can discover and build upon ideas instead of, the ideas are kind of kept siloed. And in a nutshell, I think it just looks like not only is fostering a more collaborative environment good because it reduces a lot of frustration and, problems in the process of getting things done, it's good for business. It builds a kind of environment where people can work better together. So, looking at the next slide in the deck, I think, what we've been seeing is that as companies understand this, the power of collaboration, the power of using it more strategically, they really get to a point where they start connecting the dots. They start seeing how these tools not only help them maybe manage documents more effectively or something like that, but how they can actually help them grow their businesses. Because in every survey we do, businesses always tell us every single time their top 3 business objectives are to grow revenues, attract new business, and boost profitability. And I think the more strategic businesses get that by being able to collaborate more effectively, they can have a much broader impact on the business, and they can help those tools that they use, and that attitude towards collaboration is going to help them with those revenue and business growth goals. And how do they do that? Well, first, I mentioned it before, but getting everybody on the same page, making it easy to share information instead of having information stuck in one-on-one conversations and emails. You really get a huge boost in productivity when everybody has access to the same up-to-date information in the company. And then I think the second one, here, operating beyond scale, well, that's really all about helping a business look and act bigger, right? Because we're all competing as small and medium businesses with the big guys. And today, I think that the right collaboration solutions can help you, not only connect and collaborate with your employees and contractors and things like that anywhere and any time more easily, it helps you pull in the resources you need when you need them to get a job done, to satisfy a client. And not only pull them in, but have them come into that workflow and be productive more quickly. And finally, I think very important. It's becoming more important in any business to bring customers, partners, maybe even press, media, suppliers, whoever, into different conversations in your company, whether it's for developing new product ideas, getting your arms around a customer service issues or potential issues more quickly. Whatever those things are, it's really becoming kind of table stakes that you enable that. So, moving to the next slide, collaboration software in action. I think today, I doubt there's too many companies that don't already have a stable full of different collaboration tools. And, if you're like a lot of companies, you've probably added over the years, different tools to help you with different things you're trying to do in your business. So, you probably have some kind of document management to help people share information and know where it is and find it. And maybe you have a project management tool depending on your business. Almost certainly you have email. And you might have some different things that help you work together better, whether it's portals or wikis or, whatever it is. So it's really typical for many companies to start with some point solutions that address a couple areas and keep adding as you get a new thing you need to do or new types of people you have to work with. Sometimes you might need to collaborate closely with just a few colleagues you really know well. Other times you may have to collaborate with dozens of people. So different kinds of situations do require different solutions. And over time, though, and we have our spaghetti slide coming up, what really happens is, those solutions work well for a while, and they certainly work well on their own most of the time. But over time, I guess the way I'd look at it, they're a great start to, fixing a problem, and they can be a great short-term fix. but over the long haul, you can kind of end up with a tangled mess of spaghetti. And, at some point, a lot of companies, and it doesn't take that much. You don't even have to be a really large company. But depending on, the touch points and the people you have to collaborate in and out of your organization, you can kind of hit a wall. And, we call that collaboration sprawl. And the warning signs, I know I've felt them. I'm sure, almost everybody's felt them. But, there are things like you've got big bottlenecks in getting the information you need or the resources you need or even scheduling meetings and that kind of thing. And, that can lead to mistakes or, worse yet, poor decisions because they're working with outdated information. Mm-hmm. Another one that's a big warning sign is duplicate or disorganized info. So that's, I think we've all had that problem at one time or another where everybody's like, who's on first? Who has the most current document? You might end up sending the wrong version to a client or whatever. And I think for users, even aside from the organizational issues, how many among us haven't been driven crazy by having too many logins and passwords and even URLs to keep track of for all the different tools, and really can lead to a lot of frustration by the users, and just a waste of time at the end of the day, because these tools don't talk to each other. Mike, do you see any other big signals that it's time to do something?
It's usually when, and this is a good problem to have, but it's usually when the growth starts to come and we have those point solutions in place which got us by and got us to that level, and now we need to take it to that level, but the infrastructure isn't there to support the initiatives and the growth that we have. And then a lot of times we find, people are kind of in a panic, and then they may make an impulse decision without doing the research on a vendor to make sure they're mature, or the research on a security standpoint to make sure that there's the privacy and so many things that you have to consider. But there's so many different types of indicators.
Yeah, definitely. So, going to the next slide, what this has kind of led to is this convergence, this idea that, we really need to bring all these different tools together into an integrated kind of suite solution. And so as you can see on this chart, we already have about, in our survey that we did, about 28% of the medium businesses, which are businesses with about 100 to 1,000 employees, are already using an integrated suite. And this number blew me away. 35% plan to use an integrated collaboration suite in the next 12 months. This is one of we surveyed about a number of different technology solutions areas in another survey, and collaboration is just one of the fastest growing areas that we see, businesses planning to upgrade and, deploy things so that they can be more effective. And I think what's really driving, there's a lot of things driving the conversions, but I think the big thing is they want one interface, one logon, and a data foundation underneath. So they've got that one place they can collaborate with the right tools for the task, and they can, exchange information is seamlessly exchanged between the tools. In other words, they don't have to, make sure they put it from one place to another place. They can get it when they need it, regardless of whatever tool they're using in the suite. And pardon me?
Absolutely, because when the businesses get to that level, over 100 up to 1,000, these operations are so critical, but at the same time, they may have had homegrown systems that they kind of put together that were getting it done, but now they're at a point they want to take that business to the next level. They have a great maybe business model, and they really need to focus on that, but at the same time, they have to have that infrastructure, and they need to be able to rely on a real total collaboration solution that's going to have all the functionality, have the security, have the intuitiveness, so that the users adopt to it, they get efficiency out of it, and so that they can continue to do their business model and generate that revenue and grow their company.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think also that there are more tools. So another big thing is that, people are saying, gee, I might need some social media tools and instant messaging, and, I got to take care of people using different mobile devices and all that. And that also kind of drives it. So, we've had a couple of questions come in, and I don't know, Mike, how you want to do this, whether you want to start answering some of them now or hold them for a little.
Let's take some questions. I don't know if we can get to all of them right at the moment, but let's take one, for example, which we have an audience member who asks, how does the collaboration culture change as the company size increases? And if you want to take that question, then maybe I'll take the next one.
Sure. Yeah, definitely in our study, we find a couple of things. As companies grow, they tend to reward, they start shifting from, more of the individual kind of incentives and rewards to more team rewards, which, makes perfect sense. And, we also see adoption of different collaboration tools and the suites growing as the company size grows. And I think that gets back, Mike, to a lot of what you just mentioned. But I do have to say, too, that these small businesses, the businesses from one employee or even maybe no employees up to 99 employees, also show very strong plans. I think about a quarter of them are planning to adopt an integrated suite in the next 12 months. So my take is that because of all those drivers we've been going through, this is something that's going to kind of eclipse company size at a certain point, and depending on the kind of business you're in, it's going to be of critical importance, maybe even when you're very small.
Okay. Actually, a couple of these questions are really more up your alley, so let me read them in this order. A different audience member asked, where was the survey done? In the U.S. only, or was it in other countries, Middle East, anywhere else?
This survey is a North American only survey, and I must admit, especially on the collaboration culture thing, it would probably be really interesting, to find out how, what variations there might be. But this was North America, U.S., and Canada only.
And this next question from a different audience member actually kind of goes hand in hand. It's right in line with what we're talking about. In this study, did you measure how companies are rewarding team or individual accomplishments, or were you able to observe it while you were doing it, and how they're actually doing that?
Yeah, the survey was focused more on their use of different kinds of collaboration tools and solutions. So we didn't go into depth on, what are the rewards you give. The question was really just to kind of get a baseline for what their dominant side is, I guess. Are they tending more to reward individual accomplishments or team accomplishments, or do they reward them equally? So we didn't get into specifics in terms of the types of rewards.
Okay. I think those will be all the questions for now.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, and keep the questions coming. And I think this is a good break and time to go to into a little bit more depth on some of the individual trends we see going on in this convergence space. So trend number one on the next slide, and I think, probably one of the most obvious places that many people want to integrate is those traditional collaboration tools. And the main reason here is to prevent the collaboration sprawl I talked about earlier. But you want to link every bit of data in one place, or have that common data foundation underneath. So say your document management system, your scheduling system, your project management system, they all talk to each other. And you don't have to be, clicking around all different places on the web to get something done. Now, different vendors with integrated suites do this in different ways. And, Mike, I know you guys do that with something you call interlinking. So can you tell us a little bit about interlinking in HyperOffice and how that would work in a company?
Absolutely, and I'm going to make it very simple. But you remember the slide, and we had the spaghetti, and we were talking about things being tangled. So we need to untangle that spaghetti. How many times do we have a project or a job or some task? It's just something that we have to do as an employee, and we may need a contact, right? And we may need a couple of documents. And we may need, we might be invited to a calendar event like a meeting and stuff. And maybe I'm going here to get this file and here to get the contact and over here for the task, and maybe it's taking me time, and or maybe I went to the wrong place and didn't get the newest file. And so everything's just kind of tangled. And so with HyperOffice, we have this concept of interlinking, but really what it is the same type of concept when we send an email and attach a file. I'm sure we've all done that. We send an email, we attach a document, someone else gets that, and a lot of times, you can't even share that. But the point is the association to the file, to the email. We're all doing that. We see the value in that. It helps. It's important. Well, in HyperOffice, we have an association of anything to anything. So I may decide that I want to associate, and this is what interlinking is, I may interlink this file to that file, and then interlink that to the contact record, and then interlink all of that to the meeting invite that I send out to the folks, so that when they get the invite, all the stuff is right there for them. So it's that concept of just associating anything to anything, so that the user's experience is very simple. They don't have to get frustrated. They don't have to worry that they have an outdated file, or they're missing some information. It's all kind of stringed there together. Even though the actual data and the content is in the right places, the documents are in the document section and repository, the contacts are in the contact repository, and so on and so forth. But you can associate all that stuff together and just make it so much more efficient, and allow the user to get their stuff done and keep it moving.
Which is kind of what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes.
And I think we wanted to just, we're just doing a couple little polls here just because, well, hey, I'm a market research person, so I always like to ask questions. But I think we have another quick little poll for you. So if you can take a minute and, you may already use these, you may be planning to use these, but just let us know kind of what you're doing or planning to use. That would be great. And I don't know, Mike, do we have any more questions that you want to take while people answer the poll?
Yes, I just don't know. Let's take one, which comes from an audience member who asked, "What are wikis?" And I can take that one. Wikis can be used in a lot of different ways, but basically, think of wikis as pages that you can put together, and you can put anything from links to information to images, and you can make a wiki a place that maybe if someone lands in your system, they land on a wiki page, and it gives them instructions on how to navigate, or there is documents that they can simply open and read right there. Or they could make it a knowledge base. You have content in there and you need to find it, so this links to that. And it's easily made. You don't have to, know code or be technical in any way. You just simple drag and drop, simple clicking buttons, hitting save, and just a way to have like pages that allow people to be on the same page with whatever you want to talk about, or whatever the content is about, or the project. And maybe
really a good example that a lot of people know about is Wikipedia. where you could take any topic, let's say, chemical engineering or something like that, and everybody can go in there and keep editing and refining, the knowledge base, I guess, around whatever topic you want to create in the wiki.
Yep. Yes. I don't know. Is the poll done? If not, we can do another question. Okay. No, it looks like it's still going on. Oh no, there we go. So it just finished, and the results were published. So it looks like no answer for a majority, but then the second is an integrated collaboration suite, which is in line with what we're talking about.
Yeah, and then the database.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting.
But about 35% of people are saying that they will be using an integrated collaboration system next year.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I've been talking to customers and doing this stuff for a good decade, and it started off with something cool and nice to have. Then it became very, very important as the years went on. We started with ASP and then software as a service, and now it's cloud. But really, it's come to a point where I'm talking with C-level executives all day, all the time, and they can't go without these tools. And it's increasing at an increasing rate. So, it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time, and it's a very new industry and fast pace, and we love it.
Yeah, and I think that dovetails right into the second trend we're going to talk about, which is, this convergence between email and collaboration. Now, some people have always thought of email as being part of collaboration, but, for a long time, by the vendors anyway, email and other collaboration tools have, often been put in different software buckets. But in the last few years, we've seen integrated collaboration suite vendors more often including email in their suite. So, the big gorillas in the space, Google Apps and Office 365 are two examples of this, that email is in the suite. And, of course, HyperOffice, they've been doing email with the collaboration suite, I think, since like 2006, Mike?
Actually, since 1998.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were definitely probably the first company to think of email and collaboration as a single solution. So, what was the philosophy behind that?
Well, we have always believed at HyperOffice, we've always believed that there should be a marriage between the email and the collaboration. And maybe in the past other people thought maybe they should just be dating, but I think everybody agrees that they really should be together. And I say that because not only was it, our belief, but we're very democratic here at HyperOffice, and we drive our company from the voice of our customers and prospects. And, we've been hearing what they've been thinking and what they've been wanting for well over a decade. And they do want these two things together. They need them together now, and that's just becoming stronger and stronger. And there are reasons also, because you can make email much more powerful when it is tied in to your collaboration. For an example, in the HyperOffice system, how many times you get an email and really it's from, maybe it's a lead, and you have to now take that email and enter it into your CRM or your contact management database, and, that takes a couple of minutes. All these little minutes, they add up and they equal a lot of time, and time ends up being money. And so we have really made some tight integrations in the system. So, for example, I may get an email from somebody, and I can click one button, and it puts that person's first name, last name, and their email address and the body of the email into the contact record. And then maybe I want to type myself a note, I hit save, and I'm done. It's beautiful. Or how many times do we get an email with a document attached to it, right? And we store that in our email folder, which, it's kind of, it goes along the lines of like email overload. We get all these emails, all these files, and now I have this file in my email folder, and that's great for me, but I'm not sharing it with anybody. Well, in our system, when you get an email, you can click a button, and it takes a copy of that file and puts it in a central repository that you may have members in there that are allowed to see it or have certain permission rights. So you can one-click share things. Or you get an email from your boss, and maybe it's really an assignment or a task you have to do, and maybe you're going to delegate that out to your resources. So again, one click right from the email converts that email into a task that you can assign to someone and then follow and monitor the progress of, and many other things that I won't, take all of our time on. But that marriage of email and collaboration, when used correctly, is so powerful, and it allows the users to be more efficient. It allows the company to share easier, and it's what we need.
Yeah, and I think, going on to, before we go on to the next trend, there's also been a lot of predictions out there about email's demise. Like, is email going to go away? Is social media going to replace email? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All the studies we do, we don't see that. And as a matter of fact, we see email as being the top must-have that people have to have in an integrated collaboration suite. So I really view as these other tools being complementary to email. They're not going to displace email. They may, they may be better tools often than email for certain jobs, but I think it'll be a long time before email goes away. So
I agree.
The important thing is really to integrate it with the other collaboration applications you're using so that things get streamlined.
Right.
So, pardon me?
No, please go on. I was going to say if you wanted to take a couple more questions, but we can wait.
Okay. So, that leads us right into trend number 3, because I think the biggest, or maybe not the biggest trend, I don't know, mobile may be the biggest trend, but certainly the one I guess we just hear about constantly is all this social media stuff. Demand for social collaboration tools is really rising, and I think it's because businesses are looking for new ways to collaborate, both externally and internally. And that runaway success that, of these consumer-oriented social media things like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, that's leading, to mainstream adoption. People are very comfortable with these things, and then they want to you want to take these popular tools and use them to facilitate collaboration in a business environment. Why? Well, they're really pretty easy to use. I mean, I'm sure we should have done a poll how many people here use like Facebook or Twitter, but I'm sure that, most people are familiar with at least, one or two of these social media tools and use them. And so, social media is becoming a big collaboration mechanism. And for medium businesses, there were a number of must-haves in terms of social media in an integrated suite. They wanted instant messaging. They wanted social media capabilities integrated with their other collaboration functions. And they wanted places for online discussions and forums. So I think that, this trend is definitely here and here to stay. And to give you an example on the next slide, we can show you some specifics of, the hottest, I guess, kind of areas in which people are adopting social media. So instant messaging, online chat, Facebook. Very interesting, these industry-specific social media sites, because that gets you out of that, just vast, herd world of, everybody doing something on social media to, something specific, other companies in your industry that you may be collaborating with or sharing knowledge with. And so there's really a lot of different ways people are using social media. And, I think that we're going to continue to see it just explode, because I think we've probably only touched the tip of the iceberg, and we'll be seeing more. And I noticed we just had a question about social media and who do you use social media to collaborate with. And, I think on the next slide we answer that question, so we might as well go to that. And I think, people tend to think, okay, well, people only use social media tools to collaborate externally. And as you can see on this slide, in most of these areas or most of these types of social media, people are using it internally as much or more sometimes than they use it to collaborate externally. So it's not really that, you have to segregate these different tools. I think the opposite's really true. I think you want to make sure, though, that you've got the mechanisms in place to open some conversations up to, say, customers, open others up to customers and prospects. Others might only be open up to partners. Some areas you may want to have open to everybody, and some are just for employees within the company. But social media can let you do this in a variety of ways. Mike, do you have anything to add on that?
Well, yes, and I mean, we agree with you. First of all, it's social media and social collaboration is here to stay. It's not a fad. Just like facsimiles, and email, people are really, really using this in all these ways, like you're saying, internal, external, and it started off, it seems, as a consumer thing, but now, employees and businesses, they want these tools in their companies, and they want to use them. Their customers are using them, and they want to reach those customers and, grow their company, or internal people. And so with that said, HyperOffice, like I said earlier, we're very democratic and we listen to the voice of our customers, and our customers have been heavily asking for this. So we have built and come out with our HyperSocial, which we're actually going to be releasing Q1, which is right around the corner of next year. I can't get into too much of it, but it's going to have all of the main things and some really some other cool things. Business social networking, activity streams, wall messaging, kind of like, the Facebook walls and whatnot. So, at the end of the day, we want to share information, but I also may want to follow people or a group, or maybe I even want to follow some files and stuff like that. And so we have a very strong social component that also has things like, a chat feature, IM, stuff like that. And it's what everybody is wanting, and it's just it's the way everything is heading to. So, we couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, and so on the next slide, we're really just saying that this consumer influence has been really strong. Everybody's using them, and millennials are on here, but there was a recent study by the Pew Research Foundation. I think the fastest demographic group for growth of social media tools is like baby boomers. So, it's very democratic, I think, because it's very easy to use. And, we see this evolving. This is still in the really early stages. Making effective use of it and all these tools. And there's going to be a lot of exciting things happening here. And we see companies, the users evolving from using a lot of public networks like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter right now. And that will continue. But also the adoption of private networks that you're going to want to have, with security mechanisms in place, so that you can have the conversations that aren't necessarily open to the whole world. And, I think Mike was alluding to this a little maybe with some of the HyperOffice plans is, there are a lot of great things about the way these social media apps are designed. I think most of us go on and say, oh, yeah, why can't this other thing be this easy? So I think a lot of vendors are going to be bringing those kinds of ease of use and other kinds of design principles into more of the traditional collaboration tools as Absolutely. They build in the social capabilities. So, the net is that an integrated collaboration suite is going to, I think, have to incorporate both the traditional and the social so that you kind of get the best tools, for the right situations, regardless. And the other thing is it is kind of like the Wild West out there. So I think the other value an integrated vendor can give you is they can kind of help you absorb as much or a little as this as you want at a time because, as much as we all might want to dive in and do everything at once, you often don't have the time to do everything at once. But when things are pre-integrated, you can, start using 4 functions or features today, and in 3 months you can add another, and then you can add another, and then you can add another.
You know, Laurie, another element that it brings, I mean, we talk about, these tools for productivity and efficiency, and obviously that's very, very important, but you said something earlier about excitement, and it just reminded me of a conversation I had with a customer. There's also another element, which is excitement and fun. Employees are working really hard, businesses are working hard, and it seems everybody's trying to do more with less right now, and in 2012, just kind of, tightening belts where they have to. And so being able to bring some fun and excitement into the environment, too, is also beneficial. And as the social tools, typically started out as consumer, and they're easy to use and they're fun, it also has that element that it brings into it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we got a good timekeeper out there. We have a question that'll take us right into our next slide, which is this other used trend, this trend for mobile collaboration. So the question is, what impact does increasing use of mobility have on collaboration? So that is our trend number 4. And can we bring up, okay, there we go. So in this same survey, we found that 92% of the survey respondents already have some employees using collaboration tools on their phone. This is a tsunami. We find that people are flocking to this. They want to go mobile for a lot of reasons. Some of the big reasons, they want to keep workers connected, boost productivity that way. People are traveling, working outside the office, whatever, and get the work done more easily. They can get faster access to people, and they can get the information they need if they're out in the field or if they're a client or whatever to make a decision when they need it. They, can stay a step ahead of the competition by having that information at the right time, whether it's a marketing document, a contact, whatever, something that can make or break a deal. Yeah. And, finally, if you can respond more easily from anywhere, you're going to hopefully improve your customer service. So we see that these collaboration apps, email, calendar, thing are mainstream, and now people want to mobilize more. They just want to keep going with it. Absolutely. Mike, what are you seeing?
Mobility is hot, very, very hot, and it's kind of like social in a way where we do not think this is a fad. This is here to stay, and there's a lot of really good reason to believe that. I mean, the number one feature that people use is still email on their mobile device, but there's so many companies right now that are employing more virtual employees, than ever before. Obviously, still a lot of road warriors, and these people are not in the office. They're not at their home. They're out and about. They're in their vehicles. They're at client operations and going back and forth, and they need to be connected. And very importantly, nowadays people they have all types of different devices. So at one company you may have one employee that has a Windows mobile phone, another employee has a BlackBerry, another guy's got an Android, another guy has an iPhone, and so on and so forth. And so having mobile collaboration across platforms is critical. Especially these days where everyone's picking their own devices, and this is why HyperOffice developed our HyperMobile technology. And in short, what it does, it allows users to work on any mobile device, and they can share and manage things like email, contacts, calendars, projects, and tasks. That's what we're currently doing, but we've set up this technology to be able to push and sync all types of information beyond just those things later. But for right now, email is definitely the biggest one, and then contacts is big, calendars and meeting invites and tasks, and so it's here to stay for sure.
Yeah, and so just I know we're getting close to the top of the hour, and I want to be cognizant of everyone's time, but I think the next slide kind of wraps up some of the big benefits, and I don't know. Okay, yeah. So I won't read through all these, but these are the benefits that the people already using these suites are getting. And So I think what you'll see here is it fulfills, it delivers on the promise. It gives you that easier to update accurate information. It helps you streamline those workflows because it makes you more productive and you spend less time, duplicating and finding things. You do save some time and money. And you get that boost in security as opposed to if, you're only using like public sites to collaborate, reduce manual processes, et cetera. And so by developing and deploying a more strategic and integrated kind of collaboration solution that encompasses the traditional, the social, the mobile, I think, businesses can, not only ease their short-term pains, but get some real big time and productivity benefits that helps them meet the long-term business goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then the last, the only other slide I really have is, this one. And I think that, the bottom line here is the point solutions will continue to stick around. They do soothe an immediate pain, but, as you grow, your needs and the value of these collaboration tools and the importance of them can really grow. So it's just important to take stock of where you are today, what's working, what your gaps are, and look at what the trade-offs and the advantages might be if you took a more holistic approach. And, the only other, words of wisdom or whatever I would add were you don't have to do everything at once, even if you have an integrated suite. You can start with a few of the functions and know the flexibility to add as you go. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Okay, and that's very well said. I mean, there's always that balance. We, as business owners, we just have to find that. Just to take one or two questions that we may have missed, we have one just to follow a different question that was asked earlier where an audience member asked, physical distance has traditionally been a huge factor in collaboration. Is it still? The answer is no, it's not. And it definitely was, but that's because a lot of collaboration in the past was only done with an on-premise type of installation. So if you were in different locations, the only way to be connected would be maybe to use like a VPN, for example. And, people that have used VPNs know that they crash and, there's problems, it gets frustrating. But now we have the cloud, and the cloud is you can believe in the cloud. You can trust the cloud. It's secure, and you actually can be anywhere. You can be traveling. You can be in your hotel. You can be at a client site. You can have multiple locations. It doesn't matter. And everybody can be on the same page with collaboration. So the answer is no, it's not. And one of the main reasons is because of our great cloud. There are a bunch of other questions, and we're not going to be able to get to all of them today, but there will be follow-up after this webinar. I just wanted to talk a little bit about HyperOffice just real quick, because those of you that are interested in collaboration, and specifically collaboration in the cloud, we want to invite you to take a free trial or a free test drive of the HyperOffice suite. And we'll even give you free resources to answer questions and help you along. And you can also, if you decide you want to keep it for your company, we're going to start you off with a $50 gift certificate towards HyperOffice. And so with that said, I mean, we're right about on the hour. I want to see if we can take maybe one or two more quick questions. There was one earlier on. I'm trying to find it. A gentleman asked, and this one would have to be for you, Laurie. Have you gathered any data on how collaboration suites function as a solution, not just for document management, but for knowledge management?
Not in that particular survey, but I can tell you anecdotally that obviously we gathered the information that knowledge management and sharing is a requirement, that's for sure. The more specific details, not really. But I think there is a big, growing recognition that we are not usually doing a good job of kind of capturing that information so we can build on it. And I alluded to that a little bit before, and I think things like wikis and intranets and portals and things like that, they really help facilitate that. And it may not be the same extent as like the big enterprise type of, knowledge management systems, but for most SMBs, it's a great start.
Well, that's great. And let me add to that, because As we talked about, maybe in the beginning, point solutions are, they get you by and all that conversation we had. One of the nice things about HyperOffice is you can start off as a point solution. So people come to HyperOffice, and here's a screenshot of just one simple customized page of HyperOffice. But for example, to answer that gentleman's question, some people come to us just for document management because of how secure it is, how easy to use it is. And then we meet their needs, and they're happy. But then they do have other needs, and knowledge management is one of them. And so they end up it becomes very viral with HyperOffice, and then they can come to us and they can get another piece, and it's fully integrated. We just turn it on for them. Then they can put things together. And so this is just an example of a page that you can drag and drop things onto that all your users can have access to. And so the knowledge management is like, for us at least, is something that our customers seem to grow into beyond document management, but integrated with the knowledge management. It ends up, being a hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there any other last questions that anybody would like to send in?
No, but look, there really is a stand.
Yeah, well, we're right at the hour, so we can wrap up. And I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to attend this. I know everybody, their time is valuable, and we really appreciate that. And hopefully you've enjoyed this webinar. And we want to wish you a happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And like I said, we really encourage you to take a free test drive of the HyperOffice suite. See what it's about, and if you want to keep it, there's a $50 gift certificate to get you started to make it easier. And thank you again.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks to all of you who joined us.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.